Hello and welcome back to Gapeys Garden. I thought I would do my first fig tasting video of the season. We've got our in-ground Olympian behind me, and we finally have our very first fig from this tree, and it's been in the ground for 3 or 4 years now, and this is the first year it's actually produced a ripe fig. To be honest, I think I may pull it out because from what I've heard from other people that have this fig in the ground, it really doesn't ripen very much Breba figs, and it doesn't really have a long enough season here in the Pacific Northwest to ripen the main crop. And this fig is loaded with main crop figs that I'll show you here in a bit. So it's pretty sad that we're not going to see any of these figs ripen. We had 6 Breba figs on this tree at the beginning of the season, and we've so far only harvested 1, and we might get 1 or 2 more. I'm not sure if the other ones dropped or what, but I could only find 1 or 2 others. So we'll take a look at all of these figs that are not going to ripen, as well as some of the Breba figs that are still on the tree. And we'll also taste our first fig. All right, let's take a closer look at our fig tree here. So we have got tons and tons of figs that are growing on these branches, but unfortunately 99% of these are main crop figs. So those are ones that grow on this season's growth. We had 6 Breba figs on there, so the Breba figs grow on last year's growth, and I just harvested this one. So this is our first fig from this fig tree, and I harvested it from right there. And we've got a few more on the tree that are still green and rock hard. I've got a net around this one. It's still green and rock hard, but I put a net on there anyway. We've also got, I think that's one right there, hiding back there. And then the only other one I could spot was this one right here. So it's getting a little bit hard to tell between the Breba figs and main crop figs because the new growth is starting to lignify. So when it lignifies, it starts turning brown, and it gets harder to tell if it's new growth or last year's growth. Now we are having a Breba fig tasting this weekend. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have very many figs at the event because most people's figs have already ripened. This one is a very late season variety, so I'm lucky to have this one ripen and so many more that aren't even ripe yet. We're having it a little bit later in the season this year, and a lot of the figs have just ripened earlier this year, so it's just kind of bad timing. But we do have other fruits that are going to be at the tasting that we'll be trying. Let's go ahead and take this fig inside. We'll weigh it and see how it tastes. I decided to come outside because it's just too hot inside. Let's go ahead and give our fig away. All right, we have 49.2 grams. Pretty good size. Time to see how it looks on the inside. Ooh, nice and juicy. Looks good. Well, in case you didn't notice, I'm wearing something different, and that's because it's a different day. Unfortunately, the tasting of the first fig that I got off the tree, I had some technical difficulties and the audio didn't record. So I had to wait until the next Breba fig ripened to finish the video. And I only had to wait a week and a half, surprisingly. Once they started swelling, they ripened surprisingly fast. So I'm going to give you a quick look at how the figs look right now, and then we'll do our tasting. So here is the ripe fig we're going to pick today. I'm going to leave it there for just a second. I want to show you the other Brebas that we have. We've got this one here. I've got a net around it. It's gotten a lot bigger and probably will ripen in the next couple days since last week. And then we've got this one here. Also, looks like it's getting a little bit cracked. You can kind of see the cracking through the net there. And I think we have one more that is a little further behind. So it is starting to swell, but it's still very green. And then I'm pretty sure the rest of the figs on here are going to be main crop that are not likely to happen. I think we're going to have to be really lucky for any of those to ripen in our climate. It was actually 39 degrees Fahrenheit this morning, which is crazy cold for this time of year. All right, let's go ahead and pick this one. So we've got a little bit of a long neck. It's kind of yellowish. It is very soft, a little bit green on the underside. We do have a little bit of cracking there towards the top, but it feels like it's ready. I wasn't planning on recording the weight of this one, but it's so much bigger that I decided I had to show proof. So last one was 42 point something, and this one 92.2 grams, so way bigger than the last one. Here's a look at the inside of this one. It does seem a little bit more jammy and juicy than the last one. I'm really looking forward to this. This looks much better than the first one we had, and the first one was really tasty. But before we bite into this, I just wanted to let you know we did have our fig tasting last weekend, and we did have a few figs. I think we had 6 or 7 varieties, which is much less than what we normally have. But it was fun getting to see everybody and tasting all the fruits everyone brought, but it was always a good time. We're having another fig tasting in end of September, so if you're in the Washington area, let me know. We're going to be taking signups here pretty soon. It's going to be in Monroe, Washington. All right, so let's go ahead and dig into this. Now, I did look up to see what other people said that these taste like, and I've heard peach, I've heard melon, and I've heard sugar. So let's see how mine tastes. Interesting. So the first one I had, I think it had a little bit of seed crunch, but this one, there's very, very little seed crunch, almost none at all. I am getting a slight peach. I don't think I tasted any peach on the first one I had. I definitely didn't taste melon on either one at all, but it is very, very sweet, very more sugar than honey. I'm not getting much honey, but it's definitely more of a sugar fig, like brown sugar. And that is one tasty fig. I'm starting to have second thoughts about replacing this tree with something else because, wow, these are really good. Normally I'm a berry fig lover, but I don't know. This one's hard to beat. Anyway, if you're in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere actually, this is a really good tasting Breba fig. I don't know if it's going to produce more figs as it gets older, but I don't know. I think I'll keep it at least one more year and see what happens next year. If you are growing Olympian, let me know what you think of it. Is it a big producer for you? Do you get main crop to ripen? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.